Yeah, I'm gone mad. Looking at that stick. Looking at this stick and this stick. For a bit of nighttime navigation. If you do not know where the North Star is, Polaris, this is another way to find out using sticks what direction you are actually facing. So if you put two sticks in the ground, first you put one stick in the ground, a taller stick to a smaller stick. And what you do is you line up, you have to adjust these of course accordingly, but you line up the top of this stick, bring it up to the top of this stick and bring that up, and you pick out a star in the sky. And that's your alignment, one of these to this, to the star that will be at night time in there. And it works in a little very simple way. It's windy out here today, so I hope there's not much wind in the camera. But I wrote it out so you can take note yourself of how this system actually works. You have 4 references: north, south, east, west. And you also have left, right, up, down. LRUD, le rud, le rud. So north equals left, south equals right, etc. And when you look from there to there, you have to give it a little bit of time and line it up. But if the star, and I wrote out here, so if you want to take note, because sometimes if you get one letter wrong, so look, north is equal to left. So if you have those 2 sticks aligned and your star goes to the left, you're facing north. If the star goes to the right, which the world is turning, you're south. So if you want to take a reference from this, you have LRUD, the star will either go up, down, left or right from your straight on alignment at the start. But this is what it actually looks like. Did you get that? Yeah. Well, my name is Tom Bond. And Cora has gone off up there for a Toshi Egg Shul in A. This place has gone very overgrown, and this is the big willow plantation, and I love this place. That willow is going to grow really, really bigger and bigger and bigger, and they cut it down for biomass fuel. Renewable fuel, which is what the world really needs. All the simple ways, and I'm sure there's lots of more. We don't need to be arguing and fighting over, I own this and I want this. Yeah, you can keep it. But a big thanks to everybody lately. I was very fortunate lately to have a situation where you would know, if you know, you know. And I went out, but it's all thanks to support, and thanks to certain people for giving me opportunities, and thanks to people for supporting all the videos and the Woven World Bushcraft page on Facebook. But let's go travel back in time. No, not like before. That was different. This is a little talk on the way life was thousands of years ago. Let's go. Just after midnight. My arm is killing me. What's the matter? Where's the pain? I asked, struggling to sit up. I don't know. There's something wrong with my arm. At times it feels as if it's on fire, and sometimes it goes completely numb and I can't feel anything at all. You must have strained it when you were rowing, I said. Here, take these 2 painkillers and try to relax as best you can. I'm afraid there's nothing we can do until we get enough wind to take us to land. Then we can try and find a doctor for you. Peter took the tablets and sat there, slumped miserably against the thwart. His face was ashen and his eyelids drooped. An hour later, he called me again. Oh, a raven. What a great book that I'm reading. The Brendan Voyage. Tim Severin. I met Tim last year. He was down in Craignawn for the 40th anniversary for the St. Brendan Voyage. And that's one of the great things out in the countryside. You can listen, you can look, and you can learn, and you can have everything you want. Bring a book, bring your headphones and listen to a bit of music if you just like the sights. Look who that is. But anyway, I'm here today. And Modern Made from metal, made from wood. Over time, this part has not changed, but this part has. And if we go back in time, am I going to step back a long time, thousands and thousands of years ago, back to the Stone Age. And the Stone Age was an amazing time. But and I have something here called flint. And I have loads of little pieces. And you can see, I was working this bit of flint. And you can see the shape of it coming along. I'm not really good at it because I make an awful lot of mistakes, but you have professionals out there. And flint was used for... Stone Age existed for 95% of human existence. Before the bronze came along and then iron came along, stone was the main workable tool. And you had to live off the land, you had everything natural. They were actually very healthy people. And by working with flint, you can make little shapes like this. Whoa, where am I? It's like a little, you could finish that off to make an arrowhead. Now, in the olden days, you had things like this, which people still use, a deer antler. And this part of it here, where if I get my little, this part of that there, you put your piece of flint into your hand. Now, obviously I didn't cut this, but you could. And you nap away at it the whole way up to create the shape for your arrowheads. And I'll do that now in a while. I'll play away with that. But look, antlers. And not only were antlers used, the T-H-I-N-E-S, thines. That's what these parts are called. And they were used for the flint napping, for a retouche, I think they call them. And they found one on that Utsi man, who was, I think, 5,000 years dead. But these are the type of things, little tools like that, a little fire making kit, medicinal things and stuff like that in his pouch. And there's a little leather thing, stop your hand from getting cut. And there's different ways of working it. In the old days, they would use this part of the antler. Moose is exceptionally strong and good for flint napping. But nowadays, this is modern technology now. Same principles, but it's copper based. And I don't have, there's another leather part. But look, you work away on it and flint napping. And you flake little bits off. I'm not very good at it, but I like to practice. But that's what it's all about, I guess, huh? Nah, I'm crap at this. But by right, you should be on your knee, taking big chunks at different angles and stuff like that, and get a good flake going across nearly into the middle. Pathetic. And all those things. But this is another, instead of using the antler tine, this is what they have now. And you have this, and you have your little arrowheads and stuff like that. And now, you can always tell a man-made piece of flint. Anyone who likes flint working, you know the story. And it's long, so you can get it under your arm. A bit of pressure. Corey, you must be roasting if you're back here. Now I can work away on that there for a few hours, but I don't have time because I'm having to chat. And I work my way up along the sides. And if I keep going at that, eventually you can make yourself some amazing... Look, there's some lovely pieces that could be worked to make antlers, or not antlers, arrowheads, axe heads, knives. But one thing I do have is authentic. These are all pretty crap. You can see this broke. I made this and it came out the other side. I have some nice little pieces. I'm just no professionale, and it is a very high skill. But one thing I do have that I actually found in Scandinavia is some real Stone Age artifacts. These are absolutely fantastic work. These people were craftsmen. But here's one. Do you see the shape? Yeah, it's pretty bad. Now, that's because I made that one. That's not very good. Look at the thickness of it. I suppose it would do. You'd probably use it more of a knife or a scraper, which is probably all it's good for. But look, at least I'm getting there. But this is what it's amazing about the technology of the Stone Age. These are some lovely pieces that I found, and I'll show you how do you know the difference. There's a little piece I found one time, and that's an old Stone Age knife. And you're saying, how the hell do you know that that's a Stone Age knife? Well, or you can put it into a little shaft like that, like a spear. How you know is, there's one line here, you can see where they have been flint napped. There, they're pure smooth at the back, where it has been broken off from a piece. This one is the very same. Do you see those lines? That comes from flint napping. Full. And you have these lines that run through the flint, and they're called conchoidal fractures. And you can see those little lines that run up through it, I think. Yeah, and if you turn it around, this was at the back of the piece of flint. We'll say, if this was on the piece of flint like that, this is where, boo, it was taken off, and this piece fell off, because you also have at the top a little lump, and this is called the bulb of percussion. I'm full sure it's percussion, bulb of percussion. And they're the telltale signs that these have been worked. And these could have been made on site when they hunted an animal, and they caught an animal, and they're butchering the animal on site, and they wanted to maybe have a quick feast while they're doing it, things like that. You never know. But these were all found on location in a certain place. And I love these. But another one, this is the very first one, and the stone differs in colour, and sometimes you can see this is the very, 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 very first one I ever found. And you can see it was broken off here. It could have been from modern day ploughing or old day ploughing. And look at that for craftsmanship. Look at this, look at the smoothness today. And to this day, oh, look at that one. These are all man-made, so thousands and thousands of years ago. We could be going back 10, 12, 13,000 years ago. Who knows? But in this place, there was loads of little fragments where you'd know there was a settlement there, because it's consistent in the one area. And two of my favorite pieces. This is a small little axe that was found. You can see the shape this way. See how smooth it is? A lot of damage done to it. A lot of damage snapped here. Now, inside in there, that's probably a little fault in the stone, but it's still a lovely decorative piece. And the colour of this, see the shape? And if you hold it this way, you can get it from here back, and it would have been the same. But if I move to the prize pieces, these are class. When I found these, I couldn't believe it. I was just walking along, and on top of the ground, the ground brings them all back up. Whoa! I dropped a little piece of flint from flint napping. Now, in thousands of years to come, someone come along and go, holy hell, wonder how that got there. But this is an amazing piece. Can you see the shape of that small little axe? That is brilliant. And that would have fitted into, and look at the shape of that. And it's smooth. Now a bit rough there because it got damaged. But see there, so this is a polished axe head, and takes an awful lot of work. You can see the top of the way it was worked. It looks like a boat. But this is a piece, an original piece of Stone Age that came from thousands of years ago. The last people to see this and handle this have long been gone. But you know what? This is what remains. These are the things. I have loads of little bits and pieces, but the second piece that I found, I have to admit it, is unbelievably amazing. Look at that. Look at that. That's what you call Stone Age craftsmanship. And I found that on the 9th, the 4th of the 11th, January, February, March, April. So what year is this? 6 years ago. And you can see the work that went into this. And they're very delicate. Like, you could be making this for days, hours, who knows, and one wrong move, one wrong hit, or one small bad fault in the stone which you can't see, and your work is gone. You start all over again. But man, isn't that what you call, and what this actually is, it's a chisel. Exactly. Or set in, and you have all these amazing things. But flint, they still use flint nowadays for surgery. Flint is unbelievably sharp. And not only was flint used for those kind of things, flint is also used for fire lighting. It's a good strong, and what I have here is another method of Stone Age fire lighting. And I don't know if anybody's ever seen one of these. It's a type of fungus that grows on dead ash trees. And if you can see inside in there, These are called conchoidal. Or is it conchoidal? No, concentric. And there's little rings going all around. These are called King Alfred's cakes. That's what they call them. And these grow a fungus, but they're amazing to catch a spark. They're fantastic. And I love them. And from there, once you catch a spark, and what they used to do in the olden days, to get a spark, you'd have a piece of flint. Good sharp flint. It doesn't have to be flint. You could have chert, you could have quartz, you could have any type of stone that could create a spark from a piece of, and what they used in the old days was pyrite. And pyrite is, I know they call it fool's gold as well, I'm full sure, but it's also a type of iron ore. And here we have, where you can see I've been working it, and you get the dullest, and it takes an awful long time. And to get comfortable with it, you play around with it, yeah, fair enough. You can see I've been working it in that side there. And I had it this way, I think. And there's more dust, but a piece of metal does the exact. This is where your flint and steel comes from, carbon steel. And it's so hard to see a spark, and it takes so long. But all you need is that one lucky spark. And not only did they use King Alfred's cakes, but they also used another plant, it comes from the birch tree, the horsehoof fungus. And there's a layer inside that, sort of a spongy layer. And it's really, you can fluff it up. But what I notice is, if you boil it in wood ash, it's a lot easier to catch a spark. And these are the things that they use for thousands. These are the only methods they had. Of course, the bow drill as well, like, you know, the bow drill, hand drill, things like that. And what you have is, you have all these little, look at that, look how thin that is. So what we're going to do is, we're going to go in and we're going to have a look. Now, hold on. This is something else I found one time. Now, I found this in Ireland. I did. And look, see that little hole in the stone? What I believe that was for was, in the old days, if you use it too often, it'll grind down. But this would have been quick made. When you're doing your fire drill, this fits into that, and that gets it going. But anyway, there's another lovely piece. Will we go see, where's that sharp piece I had? I'm going to do a little bit of flint napping here for a few minutes, and I'm going to get myself a nice little piece that I believe I can work. With the official pieces that I found, they go back into the mala, into the bag, because I look after them. They're what I call precious. There's another really old one. You can see the lines and the shapes where it was once worked, and how they would have worked. In the old, they also would have used good stones like that, and they're brilliant. Brilliant. You have to sand the stone as well, like you'd be going. You take off all those loose bits. Flint napping is a very skillful thing. But there's not much flint in Ireland, in parts, but up in Antrim, it was quarried for thousands of years. You know, you get off little, and look, razor sharp. And if I had a rabbit or a fish or something, I could skin it using that. Whoa, that is very sharp. Yeah, I like it. And they used to make all their tools from that. There is a beautiful arrowhead I found one time. You can see the shape when you turn it sideways, and that would be set in. And you can see that little the bulb of percussion on the back of it, and you can see the conchoidal fractures, and you can see the lines running down through it. It's a worked piece of flint. It's a very quick and crude arrowhead, not like the ones you see for a bit of time, but on the go. You make do with what you got. I can't believe this video is this long already. I want to talk about more stuff. Gotta move on. I just made this. You can see it's a lovely slender arrowhead, and I hope to use it someday, but I'd hate to lose it. It's lovely, isn't it? I'm inside of this willow plantation. And look, I have this bit of flint and I've been working on this for the last few minutes. And I made a little curve, made it, sharpened it up. And this is a flake off another piece. But I'm going to keep that for another little thing and you'll see in a minute. But what I'm going to do is, what they started off with in Stone Age times was hand axes. Before they realised, hey, let's put a handle on this, man. So, since I don't have any big enough pieces, I'm just going to cut around it. And you can see it slices into it. And look, you bend it. From there. I already made a video about willow a long time ago. It was actually a live video now that I think of it. And look, this piece of willow. And look, ah man, what an amazing tree. And I think it was a live video a long time ago. And I'm going to take off all the stuff you could do with this is unbelievable. But look, you can get cut very easy from flint. Flint is extremely sharp. It's as sharp as a surgical blade. And I have this little piece here that's really sharp. And I'm just going to, look at that, look. I'm going to turn it around and cut it on the other side. And I'm going to, now, so what I'm going to do next, another Stone Age El Tecnico, is using this, that's razor. I'd love to just cut myself to prove it. Ah, it's sharp. But what I'm going to do is all the way down, halfway. Now by right, what I should do first, and the older the willow, the easier it would be, but on the, right, whatever. See the old bark, the way it's coming off? You know what, I'll do it all, I'll be back. I have all the bark stripped off from the outside, nice little bit of sunshine down there, I'm in the shade, oh great. I've it all stripped off, but using the piece of flint which is still razor sharp, from top, I scored it, cut it the whole way down along. You have the outer bark and the inner bark. I scraped off the outer bark and I, what was that word I'm looking for? And I cut the whole way down along the inner bark. And this is what happens when you cut the inner bark. At this time of the year, with the sap running, it's amazing. It just peels off. And what I'm actually going to do, it's very liquidy and and that's actually good for you. You can do that. You can make tea, medicinal tea, because it's good for a headache. Contains salicin. But you peel it all off. I'm actually doing this for that. I'm just going to stay going. And this is what you actually do. The reason I peeled off the outer bark is because when it dries, it'll make it brittle. And you end up with a lovely, what I could use it for is a spear, I'm sure. If it was sharp, it would have stuck in the ground. And I have all this. And I have all this, and look at the length of it. And what I actually do with that is, you make rope. Cordage. Not just rope, cordage. Two different things maybe. Rope is probably a modern term, but cordage is something. And there we make a cordage. What you would want to make it even stronger, you boil it up in wood ash. Charcoal from your fire, things like that. And it's amazing what there's things you can do with wood ash and charcoal. But that's a whole nother story. We don't have time for that. I'm sorry if this video went on and on and on, but there's just so much detail. Where do you stop? Where do you start? Where do you begin? Where do you end? But now I could split these again and make it even thinner the whole way down. What we're going to do, we're going to make a fairly thick rope. What I want to do is, twist these pieces together. This will be a very, very thick rope, but you can make extremely fine ropes. Nettles, excellent stuff. The lime tree, but I'm not going to harvest so many nettles. I need to wait for another little bit of while. You do something else and things like that. I'm going to keep this piece of flint. But anyway, I think this video is dragging on a bit. I hope I'm not boring the heads off you. Roll, baby, roll. You got to roll. Yep. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this and I'll come back to you because this takes a while. I'm trying to go as fast as I can because I think this video is going to run pretty long and I don't want to do that. Okay? Boop. A lovely straight piece of, this is actually willow. A bit flimsy, but it'll do. In the old days, they used to make arrowheads out of things like this. Is that a spider? In the old days, they used to make things like this. They'd have little fletchings up here, feathers. And on the other end, there's a lump of flint. There's a lump of flint that I made into an arrowhead, and I just tied it in with a little bit of binding. Just actually willow. Now it wouldn't really hold, it's a bit flimsy, but it's just an example of what it would be. My goats! My goats! But that's examples, you know. And I can take that back out, and I can put that back to nature. From whence it came, so shall it return. I guess sometimes it's, I guess sometimes it's nice to walk and talk. Look at that for a willow plantation. But I was trying to dig up a few roots of different plants and stuff like that that you can eat. But I said while I was waiting, I was making a few bits. I said I'd just make this little basket. And you can see it's just very rough underneath. Tied with a bit of willow. And inside I use what they call cleavers or goose grass. And that's sticky stuff, look. And I lined it like a nest inside, and I wouldn't mind, I got some other stuff down below. And you can wear like a whatever you want, and it is very sticky. But another thing it's also good for is, I put it on nettle stings, but it makes a really good tonic for the blood. And it makes a great spring tonic when it comes up, cleanses the blood, cleanses the liver, you name it. Medicinal food. And there does be a lot of water coming out of these things sometimes, but it's a bit dry. Yeah, that's a bit dry. If you had a bit of water and it drips, and you, yeah, get a drink of it. And look, it goes into mulch. And if you got a nettle sting or something like that, and what this is also good for is, see the way it's all gone to that? If you got sunburn, make a poultice out of it, and it'll help soothe the cut. Here's what the basket was like from the other side. Just tied it up like a quick, put a little handle on it, and off you go, hey, whatever. Oh yeah, and before we go, this is the finished product of the willow. And before we go, I think this video was a lot of yapping, but look, you can see how it turned out in the end. The old way of making ropes. And what I've actually done is I've tied it on to, and I put that in through the top like a little toggle, and like that. And what I'm going to do is, hey man, a pretty long rope, isn't it? Take the dog for a walk. My name is Tom Bond. This is Cora. Come up here for a minute. Up. And thanks very much for your support. I hope this video is not too long, but there's so many things and so much information. It's so hard to squeeze it all into 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes. They're like little episodes in their own. But sure, look, if you enjoy watching them, isn't it grand? Come on, Cora, down. Let's go. La 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 la. And that's the world of the Stone Age. A great place. If anybody has a business out there, or a little outdoor or an adventure thing, I'd love to come visit sometime. And I'd love to come visit some people who have their own little hobbies. Like I was a couple of months ago, I was with a guy that does bog oak, and there's another place that does an organic farm. And I'd love to come visit these places. So send me a message, and I'd love to come up and see you sometime and see what you do, and whoever you are. And hopefully I'll see you all soon. Slán go fóill, agus thank you very much for everything.